Hello, folks. I've just decided I'd make a thank you movie, to be honest, for all those people who are now following my channel. It started off, as I've said previously, but some of you might not know, it started off as a tutorial or training YouTube channel for music software. But over time it has morphed into something I'm really passionate about, which is walking around and discovering places that are relevant to music in terms of bands, artists, or location. So, videos I've done previously on Ian Brown, for example, Stone Roses, that was very well received. Other ones I've done, there was one on George Harrison. I think that was actually the first one I did, just around the corner from where I live, in Stretton, Appleton. It's on the border. Officially, it's Appleton, but some people would regard it as Stretton anyway. The house down Pewterspiel, or Old Pewterspiel Lane, to be honest. George Harrison's house that he bought for his parents, mid-60s, so that they could hide away from the fans of Beatlemania. What did I do next? Was it the Paul Simon one? Yeah, and I took a trip over to Widnes train station, and talked about Paul Simon and the song Homeward Bound that he supposedly wrote there, but there has been an awful lot of argument or conjecture about that ever since. Some say he couldn't possibly have written the whole song there at the dead of night in a 5-minute turnaround time from being dropped off by the person who was running a folk club in Widnes at the time. If I remember correctly, he was staying with that person's parents just around the corner, well, not too far away from Widnes train station. And he couldn't possibly have written all of Homeward Bound. He might have tinkered with it or started it or played around with it in some way. But he couldn't possibly have written the whole song in the 5 minutes from being dropped off. And as it's reported, he got the next train out of Widnes, and there was only about a 5-minute, maybe 10-minute gap between being dropped off and the actual train taking him away. I've done quite an emotional video on a band that lost their lives, Viola Beach from Warrington. Do you know, I'm still convinced if they'd have carried on the trajectory that they were on, they would have been as big as somebody like Coldplay, who gave that great tribute to them after the tragic accident. I've done videos on people, well, a person in particular, that not many people are aware about his name, Lally Stott, a singer-songwriter who wrote one of the biggest selling singles of the early 1970s, who again, and this wasn't planned, I wasn't really planning on doing videos of people who have lost their lives, but I did do this particular one on Lally Stott, who had an awful accident as well. I've now moved on to a series of movies. I've done 2 so far of the 3 I'm planning, on Lennon and McCartney and how they got together at the infamous St. Peter's Fete in Woolton, and how the person that brought them together, Ivan Vaughan, was instrumental in that, really. The 3rd in the trilogy of those particular movies I'm going to be doing. Well, I've planned on doing it on John Lennon's mum, Julia. But then I've since thought about it, and I thought, or I've reconsidered, and I might do it on Julia Lennon and Paul McCartney's mum, who also tragically died. Again, this seems to be a common theme, but it wasn't intended. So the next in the trilogy will be Julia and Mary, Julia Lennon and Mary McCartney. Though I'm not convinced I'm going to be doing that one, or it won't be released next, as it were. I'm not going to upload that one next because there's quite a bit of work I want to do on that. I might do another one on a venue that doesn't exist anymore in Warrington, the Lion Hotel, because the Lion Hotel played or hosted, well, any number of what became huge superstars later. Iron Maiden played there. I remember going to see them. Or did I see them? Did I actually get tickets? I can't remember. But this was prior to them making it big, going right back into the 60s, going back to Paul Simon, as I mentioned a moment ago. He played at the Lion Hotel too. I think it was the week before that he played that particular gig over at Widnes, the Widnes Folk Club. And David Bowie played there too. Now, I might link the Lion Hotel to, I can't remember its name, but just up the road from Bridge Street in Warrington. going towards Central Station, train station. There used to be a club up there as well. Do you know? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I'm going to do some research on that. I did go there once or twice, but I was probably a little bit too young. I think I might have snuck in when I was about 14 or 15. And I have no recollection who it was that I saw there. But that was a place that did play host to an immeasurable amount of big bands. And not very far from there, maybe about a mile? No, not even that, about half a mile. Again, the venue doesn't exist, but it was the place that the Beatles played in Warrington, the only time they played Warrington. So I might do a little bit around about there as well. So I'll tie together some of the venues that don't really exist anymore around Warrington. Okay, so as I say, I'm really grateful for all your support watching the videos, and it's even more worthwhile to me if you can watch all the way through, simply because I put a lot of work into them. I know you don't really care about that. You just want to be entertained. You're thinking, well, what do I get out of it? Well, hopefully entertained. So thank you again. And if you want to support me more, then do all that stuff, on YouTube, thumbs up and make comments and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Okay, right. I'll leave it there then. And I think my kettle should have boiled now, so I'm going to get a coffee. And then I'm going to head over to Manchester because I'm very intrigued about a certain type of guitar. In the past, I was intrigued by Acoustasonic guitars. Now I've found something slightly different that I want to buy, but I can't really afford it. So get my subscribers up to 1,000. Keep watching the videos, and I might make about £4 a year on ad revenue from these YouTube videos. And who knows, in 400, 500 years' time, I might be able to afford this particular guitar. Anyway, I'll leave that for you to decide. Right, I'll see you soon. Thank you again.